One's on my camera, I'll have to like export.
There.
It's also good to just check. Z0 routine. If it freezes, immediately close the program, Control-Alt-Delete, Task Manager, close it, reopen it, try it again. Normally works after the second time if it freezes. XY zero routine, that one's just like easy. No like enter or anything, it'll just do it.
So it's going to bring it to the correct position.
Okay. And doesn't actually zero it to the material, it just zeroes it to this.
Okay, to the
material,
base.
to the edge, yeah,
Okay.
to the base.
All right. So now we're almost ready to go. We've already warmed up the spindle. We've got a new bit on there. We don't have to do anything for the next 4.
Yep.
All right.
No zero.
Tool 0, say okay.
And then file, part file load.
Okay.
And if you ever, like, if this ever doesn't pop up to here, this is all in, desktop user files.
Okay.
Accelerate for cutting.
Okay.
And then I put all of them under the updated files.
Okay.
And you can see here, it's like this is what we're doing right now. It's ×6.
Okay.
And this is also the smallest file.
Okay.
This is the like mega one that I think has all the half laps. And this is like the medium has some.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, so you just double click on that. It'll come up. If you want to preview, you can hit preview and it'll switch modes.
You're good.
Oh. It's always weird. Well, if I can figure it out.
All right. So don't preview.
Don't preview.
All right.
You can preview if you just like mess around with it.
All right,
But anyway,
so let's go file.
file load,
First
that
one.
one.
Boom.
and then start.
Make sure everything's clear over here.
Yeah.
No one's around
Make
it.
sure that's level.
And then make sure we turn on the vacuum cleaner, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And once that starts up. Yeah.
All right. Turn on the vacuum cleaner.
Just gonna remove a whole bunch of material. I actually need to go. I mean, it's. You're just a little guy, though. Show off.
Hi, this is our latest video on the Soundgarden 2019 projection mapping project for Accelerate 2019. This is showcasing our final build, and this is an Experience Studio B. You can see some modifications that we have done to make it more stable to withstand higher force winds, and this is now rated for 35 mile per hour wind. You can see we have extended out that base by a foot, almost a foot and a half on either side, and those are bolted down. So what we did was a stress test at the midpoint of the structure, and you can see we have a scale, and we are pulling, about 5 people pulling, and we reach all the way up to 407 pounds of pressure on the midpoint of the structure. Here's some other outtakes from before when we were testing it without any weights. showing rigidity of the structure.
Boom. It just smoothed right out. Look at that. I'm here for the mask now.
Steps.
Too busy. Ooh, that looks so much nicer.
Doesn't have exposed wires or anything.
Oh, God.
Here we have the first prototype of the wand. We have a power supply. We have a microcontroller, a momentary power button, a thumb wheel, and a 433 megahertz transmitter. Now, stack these up and hold it. When we press the power button, it turns on the microcontroller. And when it turns on, it transmits out a signal immediately. If we keep it held down, you can see the red button that blinks here. It will transmit out every second, repeating that same value. We can change the values by adjusting the thumb wheel, and it reads every time we change it and transmits that out. You can't see that in this version here, but you'll see it over on the receiver. Here we have the receiver. It's a receiver module, 433 megahertz, comes into a microcontroller and then transmits out through USB and also gets power through the computer. We can plug that in, connect it to our computer, and we can use this sketch here that I've written in Node that takes the serial data with the OSC packets and then just draws them to the screen. And here I'm going to connect to the COM port, COM63. And then I can take the transmitter that we've got, and when I click on the power, it transmits out to the receiver. Here you can see a value of 65, which in ASCII is an A. We can adjust the thumb wheel a little bit and get a different value. Different value. In this case, all the way up to H. So we can adjust this back and forth. And if we hold it down, it's going to print out once every second. And we can also click the speed that we want. Adjust this. But we can't go too fast because it's not yet optimized, or we may add a capacitor to just increase the amount of time that it stays on with the power so that it can actually transmit. But that's it. This will allow multiple devices out there to be transmitting with one receiver to receive all of these. This module right now is not the final module, but it's good enough to prototype with, and essentially this is how it will work, but should be a little bit more robust, especially once it's not on this perf board.
start documenting this.
Well, here's the unique ID. Every spit out a value between 0 and 255.
It's crazy that task manager took a spike like that.
Where's it show memory usage in here?
It's good though. It's nice and low. I mean, this is.
What we're hearing is simulation of one click happening every 800 milliseconds, but we can simulate that to be a lot faster. So that was kind of the worst case scenario. If all the wands were clicking at the exact same time as fast as possible, that's what would happen. So we've accounted for that scenario. On the display, we'll zoom in. This is a visualization of every time a sound happens, it triggers the location of the sound to slightly move, and preset sounds are constrained to this 60-degree slice, which will correspond to each form. And the location data here is being handed off to David, so David knows where each sound is located in sort of the 3D space, and he can tie the visual elements to that sound, so when you hear it, you also see it, and they're aligned in the same 3D space. And I'm also not handing off the actual data to David right now, so his rate is a lot slower, but
They're not synced.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
the electrician by 2.
Oh, there, he's at.
Good. You should paint these maroon and orange.
No, I messed it up.
The projector's gonna be right in people's eyes.